Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll call you right back podcast.
Go ahead, put the headphones
No.
on. Yes, put them headphones.
Because I didn't plan this event.
That's all right, but you're gonna be able to talk about it. Toss some headphones on. We're gonna do this again.
I'm scared.
No, it's gonna be good.
I tried so hard not to lead meetings today.
Well, my goal about this episode was that this week I wasn't going to do one because, I didn't have time to get a guest in here. So I wanted to just record a quick one to kind of just like have a little debrief of the Playing Hookie trip to Laurel Caverns that we took yesterday. And, kind of break that down and talk about, as a patron of this field trip, try to shake away all bias that you might have for the love that you have for your husband planning these events. Yeah. And I want to know what you really thought about the trip. Like, you enjoyed it?
Yes, I enjoyed it. Of course I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
How?
So let me ask you, if you want me to lead the conversation.
Yeah, I want you to ask me.
Let me ask you a question.
Ask me.
Whenever, I feel like you've been talking about like doing a field trip for a long time, right? And way before you met Nick and had opportunities on the bus with Nick, there was no bus. There was no like way to get to where you wanted to go. And you didn't really have like a vibe for what you wanted a day trip to look like. You just knew that like doing a day trip and being the host and the guide was something that you wanted to do. Like you've interviewed for tour buses before. Not Nick's tour bus, but there was another
other tours in the
Pittsburgh
city.
Tour, yeah.
That's
You've
my goal.
interviewed for them, and you came. Yeah, right. That was kind of like where you started, and you came back from one interview, and you were super disappointed because it sounded like a great opportunity, and they wanted you to like block off Saturdays and Sundays, and then you found out that it was maybe going to be like $11 an hour.
It was literally $11 an hour
to like be the guide and be the host. And you knew that you could do something like this, but I mean, you're also entrepreneurial in your mindset, and you think about what did we just say before we started recording? I picked up a bag of VHS tapes on the floor, and I said, "What the hell is this? You get this from the flea market?" And the first thing you said to me was, "That could be a financial opportunity."
No, I said, mark my words, that is going to be a lucrative opportunity. In the future. And it will be, mark my words.
So you have that mindset about you, and you knew that you could do something that maybe you made a little bit more than $11 an hour, and be able to curate it on your own without being at the will of what that person wanted you to do.
Absolutely.
And it just so happened that over the past year or so, you came across the Burgh Bus, and the Burgh Bus had got their start. And Nick and Kat are just so fabulous and incredible. And it's very funny because like they don't want to be like the tour bus guides. They want other people to come on and do that piece. And like what better person to come in and be the curator of the event than you when you've already had this vision for quite some time, you know?
Like this was something that I've really wanted to like try to,
what made you want to have interest in being like a tour guide? And
well, think about like,
because you're a host, like
like overall, I like hosting things. I like hosting people. I like making things go smoothly. I like, being the general contractor, but I also like, I like all the mechanics of it. It might be me being like almost like a control freak and just having it, always be with my thumb on it where I can feel the pulse.
You like to be the director.
I like to be the director, but I also like to be
a part of it.
Yeah, I want to be a part of it. Like I truly feel like that. I think it's gross to say like a gift, but like I could just talk to people. I could really get on all different levels with all different people.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, Gary and Darla this
Okay, so
weekend.
before we dive into then today or the event from Monday, you know, you met Nick. You first did your Burgh Bus event. What was the very first event you did? Or we rode the bus with John as the host.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what sparked your interest in hosting on the bus.
Yeah.
And then we did bingo.
Yeah, because ultimately, whenever I talked about, you know, we were talking about why I wanted to do hosting. So, you know, I wanted to be a host, you know, for a long time, just because I loved a great host growing up. You know, Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs. That was like my goal in life, is to be able to just go do all these different jobs. And that kind of came into my mind a little bit younger, is like being a host for something, whether it be like a game show, whether it be, you know, an MC of a party or something like that. That's always something that I've wanted to do. And then, you know, obviously we're adults now and we like to do fun stuff and we want to go find fun stuff to do. And I did not see anything in the city that was like, you know, go book a trip or go book a ticket.
Trip.
Yeah,
Just
local
a
trip. Like utilizing like local gems around our city of Pittsburgh and like what's in our backyard. And like, you know, I just wanted to book a ticket where you could go get on a bus and go do something fun. Almost like a younger person's take on like a geriatric tour bus. Yeah.
Where they just kind of like haul you around and drop you off. And
exactly.
You kind of do what you're going to do and then you come back at the end of the day.
Yeah, like I didn't want that.
This was so much different than that.
And that's why, like, I think that it was so perfect, because obviously Nick and Kat with the Burgh Bus, like I interviewed Nick for anyone that's listening. And if you want to hear their story, like the Burgh Bus is, it's the most unique experience on wheels. You know, Nick and Kat are the owners. They bought these buses, they trick them out, and they offer tours. They offer, you know, drag bingo. They offer bingo. They offer, shuttle services. I mean, you could book them for weddings, private parties. You can go. There's a new service that they're offering that's really, really cool, that they're going to Burgettstown for all the big concerts. You can just book a shuttle service with them, get on the bus, and they take you out there, bring you home. Like, it's awesome. But I needed a form of transportation for me to be able to host these events. Like, you know, obviously I could host an event and have people like come to a location, but I wanted it to be, you know, a group activity.
Yeah.
So Nick and I, you know, kind of hit it off, and I was like, you know, let's try to make this happen. And they were like, let's try to make it happen. And we made it happen. You know, he filled that other missing piece of the puzzle that was able to make this all work.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it's like a match made in heaven. I feel like a couple of folks that have been really beneficial to you as you've been navigating your podcast work and your event work have been John Shalkowski from Odd Pittsburgh. And now I really think that Nick is going to be like a pivotal part of the events that you've been curating. So it's really interesting to see your progress in your events, because you've hosted a couple different types of events in the past. Like, this is an extension of the other curated events that you've created, like the movie theater event. If you recall, you know, you sought food and drink from local establishments so that you could support them in addition to supporting the local movie theater. That was a really interesting way to curate a local event, but this is kind of like one step further.
Yeah, moving pieces
in
this.
Now there's a little bit more moving pieces. And like, I don't know, do you want to kind of describe like what is so different about this experience versus your just like regular day trip?
Well, I feel like that, you know, with what I was trying to plan with the Playing Hookie event is, you know, I wanted to get back to that like nostalgic feeling of like, you know, going on a field trip in high school.
Yeah.
You know, what was better feeling than like, you know, I don't know, you felt different. Like whenever we were riding to the bus, you were like, I don't know, it feels like a field trip day or a Kennywood day.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just has like a different feel to it. And I wanted to cultivate that
because
and
you
make
know
that
you don't have to go anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you're
you
like,
know you're going somewhere cool.
Yeah,
and not
fuck
your
work.
crummy.
I called work off and like, you know, we're going to have fun today.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to have that feeling, and I really wanted it to be just a way to bring people together. You know, I wanted all different people, because the podcast, you know, with me interviewing all these different business owners, I get so many different listeners.
Right.
It doesn't matter, the age, if you're male, female, whatever, it like doesn't matter. There's a whole different variety. So I wanted to be able to like create an event that hopefully everyone would seem interested in. And basically the events that I'm doing are just things that I would book for me and you to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you were talking about the Christmas event.
If we had all this time during the week, we would be doing things like this, but we can't. And this is a different outlet to do that.
Yeah.
And involve other people to share the experience with us.
Yeah. And be able to kind of shed light on some local businesses and establishments and experiences around the city. Like I know that there was multiple people on the bus who have never, heard about the Burgh Bus. There was multiple people on the bus that never went to Carson St Deli.
Yeah.
And there was, we had...
so then I don't know that for the podcast, we've yet outlined what you had in store for our field trip day.
Oh, yeah.
So do you want to talk through the location, why you chose that location?
Yeah.
And then the businesses that you involved?
Yeah. So, so the first field trip, I wanted it to be like a cool place that everyone might know about that people might not have been to yet. Laurel Caverns is a place that I've been to in the past that was always such a cool thing in our backyard that I don't know. I feel like a lot of people didn't really everyone knew about it. Everyone drives by the signs,
right.
But have you ever went there?
And so very surprisingly, there was only a very few handful of people on the bus that have actually been to Laurel Caverns.
Yeah. I think there was only like 4
and that was including me and you. I think.
Including me and you. And that's what's so crazy because everyone on the bus basically lived in Pittsburgh their entire lives. And it's just a place that you kind of overlook. So,
down by Uniontown.
Right down by Uniontown, and it's like far enough away to like want to be able to take a bus trip and like share that travel with everyone. So I knew that the Laurel Caverns was an hour and 15 minutes away or so, and I just thought that would be a good destination distance. So I wanted to find like a little pit stop in between. That's where I came across Perked Up Cafe in Chaleroi, which was, they have multiple locations. They have one over in South Point too, but they are just a coffee shop that was very, very highly reviewed. And it was a perfect halfway point in between Homestead, right by the theater next to the big iconic smokestacks. That's where we picked everyone up on the Burgh Bus. And
the pictures there look really cool too. That was like great for
the pictures really did. Yeah. They turned out great.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to hop on the bus and have a halfway point so people could use the bathroom, and then included in your ticket. I wanted this ticket price to include everything. One price, everything included. So your ticket included transportation, and then we stopped at this cafe, and the ticket included a coffee and a pastry of your choice. And then once we hung outside of the Perked Up Cafe, we finished our pastries, and then we hopped back on the bus and went to Laurel Caverns. And there, this place is almost 60 years to the day that they did their first public tour. So it was cool that... it was that close, and like we got there, we got to go through a guided tour,
learned a little bit about the history or the known history of Laurel Caverns, and it's all. I think what's really cool about taking these bus trips is that you get there and you get to learn something. Like it's not just I'm just kind of like walking around and seeing whatever and getting back on the bus. Like the fact that we went on a guided tour with somebody explaining the history, I thought was really great.
Yeah, and that's like that was one of the pillars of like what I want to incorporate in all the field trips. Like I want to have like experiences. You don't want to show it
up at the museum and just kind of walk around. Like you would like for the trip to be an experience. An experience
that's like, a little bit more elevated than just like, going to a place and walking around. I want to learn some stuff because, I feel like I didn't enjoy, learning about a lot of these things whenever I was younger. Like I took that for granted. And like now as an adult, I'm just more interested in like going through and like seeing these incredible things.
Yeah.
Now, whenever I know that we've been there together before, but like, what is like, what was your favorite part of the caverns? Like,
I like that self-guided portion. Like,
Yeah.
it's actually a lot of walkable cave, which is really interesting because you wouldn't think like you could just walk into a cave and there's like hallways that you could kind of go around.
Super tall rooms and everything.
Yeah, like it's very like actually a lot easier to walk than I thought it was going to be. My favorite part I feel like was that descend in the self-guided portion.
Yeah.
And there's probably some pictures online, but there's this portion where it's all lit by chandeliers, probably as old as they've been touring.
Yeah, they look
that
super
mine.
old.
They look extremely old, and they're wired to the ceiling.
It literally looks like the Goonies.
It's a little bit spooky, but it's really exciting because it really makes you feel like I'm literally inside of the mountain. Like,
Yeah.
it's really wild.
Yeah, we were down 17 stories underground, which is pretty crazy.
But at the top of a mountain.
Yeah.
At the top, right, above the Summit Inn, if you're familiar with that location.
Now, whenever we were, done with the tours there, like let me ask your opinion on the length of tour. Like, whenever you want to go and experience something, it's like, how long do you think you want it to be? Like, do you think that was a good length? We were there for like what, maybe an hour and 20 minutes?
That was a good length. Like, with someone giving us some background, I think maybe only a half hour of that was actually like a guided tour. I like that length because it keeps your interest,
Yeah.
It gives you enough to think about while you're still there before it's time to move on to the next thing.
Yeah, and
You're
it's not
just
too
buzzing
long.
around. Yeah, it's not too long. I liked it.
So you like learning about, like, I don't know if this is just me. Like, whenever I first came up with this idea, like, I was like, are people going to think that this is going to be fun, or am I just like a big kid that wants to do all this stuff? But everyone seemed to have a great time.
I mean, it's awesome. And I know we haven't talked about the rest of the afternoon yet, but I'm already looking forward to the next trips. And I feel like you're already thinking about some ideas of what the future could hold with day trips.
I mean, there's so many ideas in the works.
There's so many.
And then after we were done with the caverns, we got back on the bus, and then I wanted to find another halfway point for us to have a lunch. So I knew lunch was going to be part of one of the factors in this field trip. So what I wanted to do was keep it, kind of nostalgic and have like a brown bag lunch. And there's a place in the city called Carson St Deli that I've been going to for a long, long time. And they do a great, they do great work down there. So I hit up them and was like, hey man, this is my idea. I want to take a group of adults on a field trip and I want to give them like an elevated brown bag lunch. And Austin, the owner, awesome guy, he was like, absolutely, let's do it. So the way it was so cool because it was even customizable. So as you went to buy your ticket, you were able to purchase your ticket. And then whenever you went on your ticket, you were able to select your sandwich type that you wanted. You were able to select a side that you wanted. And, it was nice that you were able to do that, right? It was pretty easy for you.
I thought, honestly, the bag lunch thing was one of my favorite parts of the trip. Because you literally, like, they did such a bang up job at Carson St Deli. They put everybody's in their own bag. Everybody had their name on the bag.
Yeah, name written on their bag.
It was so cute. They really thought of everything. And it was just like, I really felt like I was on a field trip. Like, my teacher just handed me my bagged lunch and I was going to go sit with my friends.
They had a pickle on the side.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh. And the food was incredible.
Food was great.
One of the ladies that joined us that we had not met before, which that was a cool aspect of the trip too. We should talk about like hanging out with everybody.
Yeah.
But she was like, this is literally the best macaroni salad that I've ever had.
Oh
like,
that was Joanna.
Joanna, yes. She was like, this is really great. Like, where did this come from? So the bag lunches were really, really special. And I really thought like going to the park to enjoy your lunch was such a nice addition to the day. Yeah,
I mean, like that was
and
also
how we
something.
Winded down before we got back on the bus on our ride home.
Absolutely, I wanted to find a little park where we could go eat at a pavilion like you did on a field trip in high school. So we went to Mingo Creek Park out in like Finleyville area, And we just popped over at a pavilion for about a half hour. I had some coolers with everything. We had some drinks, and we just hung out there. I had a Nerf Vortex football. Got no use, but we were there. We were ready to play.
Hey,
it was. I mean, like, I honestly, I could not have been happier with how everything went.
Me too.
And Nick and Kat with the bus, everything went well there. It was definitely a interesting experience getting up and down that mountain in a bus. Never went up and down that big ass mountain in a bus. But that thing's a trooper.
Did we not go up and down? Was that the mountain that we went up and down on our wedding?
Antonette's referencing our wedding. Our wedding, we had a school bus taking us to and fro the rental that we stayed at. Yeah. And this lady literally went up like a dirt like fire road.
Backside of a hill in his freaking
It was
school
crazy.
bus.
It was the wildest. And everyone was just like hammered.
That's it was reminiscent of.
Absolutely.
On our way up that hill, we forgot to tell. I don't know if you told Nick that story, but that was very funny.
So Nick and Kat, they have the full size Burgh Bus, but they also have a brand new addition to their fleet, which is a little bit smaller of a bus. Brand new. It has a different seating setup. It's like communal seating, so everyone's facing each other. Got a super cool checkered floor. Got a nice TV in there. I mean, it's laced out. So we took that bus, and it was perfect. Like, everything was so great.
Awesome. And I love their first bus, and this second bus is like such a great addition to their fleet. And like, I'm just so excited for all the things that they're going to do with that bus.
Perfect.
It's comfortable. Like, I was not going to lie, whenever we thought maybe we would use bus number 1, that the windows were maybe going to pose an issue for that distance.
Yeah.
Because we did have to kind of ride quick on the highway.
Yeah.
But it was like perfect timing that they were working on this other bus and it had windows, and like, that's so great for those short trips. The seating was extremely comfortable. You sat across from one another because it was bench seating. So I was talking to everybody the whole time.
Yeah.
It was very, everything you could just kind of stow under the seats, and you bring your drinks with you. And
we had a good
just
crowd.
We had a great crowd. Everybody was just so excited to do something different.
Yeah.
And I really felt like it was like the right like pilot crowd, because they understood like we had some kinks to work out, but they were all just along for the ride.
Well, it was cool because obviously there was people I know there.
Yeah.
Good friends came, but there was also
cool.
people that I did not know at all.
Which is like the point.
Yeah, which was the point.
Fun.
All I wanted was to see an older couple pull up, and that is exactly what happened. Darla and Gary, retired couple, just going.
They're in transition. She was very clear to me that she did not want to say retired.
Okay.
They're in transition currently.
Well, they are enjoying life for sure. They're just going and doing fun stuff, and they were like, yeah, we heard about you online, and we booked a ticket, and they came and took, and then we had Joanna and Christy. Christy actually called off her job. I think
that's so good.
To be fair, everyone kind of requested off ahead of time except one. Christy was just like, fuck it. She said she called off. She went, I ain't feeling well. But it was cool. Were they
best friends?
I think that they were really good friends.
Okay.
Yeah, they were really good friends, and I think that Joanna found the tickets and
she
was
said,
like,
come on down, let's
come
go.
on down.
I love
and then
it.
it happens to be, I asked these people, I'm like, do you got any events coming up? And she's like, oh, we're going to Foreigner and Styx. And then Nick with the Burgh Bus is like, hey, we're doing transportation there.
Perfect.
So Christy went and bought a ticket. So now that Joanna and Christy are going to Foreigner on the Burgh Bus for their new shuttle service. So,
awesome.
I mean, we're just cross-pollinating here. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, and that's the point.
And I seriously had so much fun hanging out with everybody, and I feel like that was such an important part of the trip, was just like spending time getting to know other people and just like experiencing this together.
Yeah.
This was such a new experience for almost everybody on the bus. Like we said earlier, only a handful of people have ever been. So like, you're getting on the bus to experience something new with everybody, and it's all local, and it's not, I have to drive 5 hours to this other state to accomplish this. Like,
yeah, and you don't have to worry about the small little minuscule things that you don't want to worry about. Like,
we dropped the dog off for daycare and picked her up on the way home. Like, it was just such a perfect day. Like, just easy.
Easy.
It was great.
You park, you drop your car off, and you don't have to worry about it. The whole day's planned for you. You know, we got food, we got a snack, and there's going to be way more of these. You know, I'm so excited. We already got so many in the works. I think the next one's going to be at Meadowcroft Village. I think my job
is going to catch on when I start calling off every Monday.
That's all right. My guys at work, they're in good faith. I tell everyone at work, I'm like, you know, we're doing they're like, you're promoting people calling off work. I was like, yeah, well, got to do what you got to do. Well, but yeah, Meadowcroft Village is in the works right now. If people don't know what that is, you should check it out. There is, it's in Avella. It is a branch of the Heinz History Center. Meadowcroft Village, look it up. I'm not even going to try to explain it because I'm going to butcher it, but keep your eyes peeled for the next field trip because we got them coming. Me and the Burgh Bus. It's a match made in heaven.
It really is.
So what else did we want to talk about? I wanted to bring up Fit Fisk.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Fit Fisk.
Yeah, so me and Antonette have been hitting up some good restaurants recently. And Fit Fisk is due for some spotlight because would you say it might have been the best meal that I've had
in the city.
Thus
far,
I think so.
There.
It's up
definitely
there.
Up there in the top 3.
Definitely top
sure.
3, no doubt. But we went there. That was fantastic. Where else did we go? We went to Lilith.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's go back to Fit Fisk
because
I didn't really know anything about it.
Yeah.
I've heard the name and I didn't really know what type of food they had. And then you told me you made the reservation and I was still I looked at the menu and I was like, am I going to be into this? Every single thing that came out was better than the last.
Yeah.
The starters, whatever we had caviar.
Caviar,
we
tartare.
Had steak tartare.
We had marinated mushrooms.
Every time there's steak tartare, we have to get it.
Focaccia.
It was rye focaccia.
It was
incredible.
Everything
fresh.
really was great. Chef Nick, who is the owner, I got in touch with him. He's going to be coming on the podcast here soon once
That's
I can get him scheduled in.
I would love to hear more about.
I know it was a unique restaurant.
Of this. Yeah, and they've been around for a couple of years now, I think.
Well, what originally was they were a pop-up, so he would just do pop-ups different places. From what I could have gathered before I knew about them,
he was popping up with whole fishes like that. What
yeah,
was he
because
up with?
Really what happened is I had a reservation for that pop-up right before COVID happened, and I canceled.
I remember that.
The
so they have been around for a while.
Yeah, they've been doing pop-ups for a long time, and then they finally had this brick and mortar that they opened, which is a beautiful spot, very cozy little restaurant.
The restaurant is such a vibe.
Yeah, it's a vibe really for sure.
Yeah.
But obviously it was a great meal. It was great service, everything. So I reached out and I want to learn.
Our waitress was fabulous. I wish I could remember her name.
I know.
I really liked her.
She had good suggestions.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to learn about, like behind it all. It was a different type of menu.
What's his background? Because is he Scandinavian?
I don't know. I don't know.
Kind of food it is?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? I have no idea. I can't even
I'm
excited
guess for that one.
And then the next meal
was great.
Lilith was great.
That was a surprise. You made a reservation and you kept saying, "Let me tell you what it is. You want to know where we're going?" And I was like, "Nope. I want it to be a surprise." So you drove me there and we parked and we pulled up and I was like, "Yes." Yeah. I've been wanting to go to Lilith for so long.
So good, Shady Side area.
Yeah, it's so cute.
And I don't know exactly when they opened. I think it's pretty recent though.
They've been, a couple of years.
Yeah, I think it's I think so. But I reached out to them. They are in the talks. They're coming over too. So we got some good episodes coming up.
Yeah.
I'm excited to jump back in it. I know it's a short one this week, but this was good. I appreciate it.
I wanted
to decompress with you, and I needed to have someone who really had a handle on what went on the field trip. Is there anything that you could critique? What did I do? What could I do better?
We already talked about this, but I think that timing needs to be buttoned up just a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was horrible.
Yeah.
I think we ran behind a little bit in a couple spots, but other than that, I think once you button that up and you figure out what kind of dialogue you want to set,
That's my biggest
different
critique.
points. Yeah, but like you'll figure that out. Like you're good at that.
I know, but I feel like that's just something that I'm hyper aware of because everyone else, I mean,
they didn't. Yeah,
Darla,
you already did more than enough for them, so they didn't think that your talking points there was anything wrong with that.
I know. Darla stopped me before she went home, and she was just so. She was just
So
like so
sweet.
thankful.
I really like Darla.
And Gary, they were fantastic. That older couple that we were talking about, and then Nicole Medved. Okay,
Wow.
my
The
distant
queen.
relative. Okay, we're not even sure how we're related, but we're definitely related in some way.
Yeah.
But Nicole is a baker. And she has a company called Sweet and Savory Role Play that is a brand new endeavor that she is embarking on. But she's been a baker for
Years.
years.
She's been doing your stuff for years.
All kinds of stuff, and she's been all sorts of restaurants. She's worked everywhere, but she hit me up. First of all, she comes to all my events.
She's like the number one
biggest supporter.
fan. She's the best.
Like very, very awesome person, a great supporter, super cool. And from the beginning, I hired her to get some cookies for my 200 episode party, knocked it out of the park. And then where else did I get cookies for? The Christmas
stuff, yeah.
The Christmas event that I did at Parkway.
Did she have pop-ups at Streets before?
She's had pop-ups at Streets on Carson, but she bought tickets to the field trip, and then she hit me up and she was like, yo, I'm gonna make some cinnamon rolls and I'm gonna send everyone home with some cinnamon rolls. So it was really just
everybody
like,
loved that little addition. That was just
Oh
such
my
a nice
God.
little like literal icing on the cake at the end of
I
the
know,
day.
like everyone was like I go
was
back
so
to Darla.
kind.
I was like, hey, before you leave, go get your cinnamon rolls. And she was like, oh my goodness, I almost forgot. And she went and grabbed them and she was pumped. But I think it was a success.
Yes.
I couldn't be more appreciative to Nick and Kat, the owners of the Burgh Bus. I couldn't be more appreciative to you, my wonderful wife, for helping me with all this.
I really feel like I've helped you more in the past on other events than I have with this one. This one was really you, and you executed it very, very well.
Well, I have to say that you gave me my space on this one, which was good. Sometimes
I think it's because I trust Nick
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
I trust you.
I know,
trust
but
you.
I think that's a flaw that I'm working on. I'm trying to, you're usually a great support system to try and, just get my ducks in a row with these events. And, you keep me in line with them, and I'm trying to get better at, at taking that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think you're great.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm glad that this one went well. This one went well, set it up for a good future with the rest. Anything else?
Nope, I think you did a great job.
I know I'm not going to do any Desert Island questions with you. Everyone knows.
Please, God, no.
Antonette hates that. Anytime
not
she
that.
comes on the podcast, I
We
try
didn't
to.
even have like a regular thing.
I know,
Anyway,
I know.
so.
Just a short one, but everyone else that's listening, appreciate yinz as usual. Follow along with the Burgh Bus. They got all sorts of events coming up. You could follow Carson St Deli. Go check them out and grab a meal. We got, Laurel Caverns. I mean, I can't say enough about it. It is
Cool
a
place.
spectacle
Cool.
in our backyard. And the Perked Up Cafe, big shout out to them as well.
They did a
But
great job.
everyone else, appreciate yinz as usual. Keep checking back for more updates on future field trips, and we'll talk to you soon.